identification and your reason of business in the District of Columbia.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's go to Dave Statter. He's at the Pentagon. David? Dave, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. We're on the wrong microphone. Sorry about that. We'll be on the right microphone. Okay. You know, I was just talking to Bruce Buckholz, our photographer. He made a point here that if this plane had only taken off recently, this jet that crashed into here, it probably was loaded with fuel, and that was the enormous amount of fire we saw when we got here that was burning. This fire still burns. We've got fire in about 5 or 6 windows on the west side of the Pentagon. Arlington firefighters immediately called for help, but this is a very difficult, very stubborn fire. They're getting into those offices as best they can. There's fire underneath the roof that we can tell that they're trying to get to. The area where the most impact was and the most fire originally, they seem to have the fire out there and the fire on the outside of the building that burned for a long time. That's out. A bunch of ambulances arrived about 20 minutes ago. They're staging here. The last time we saw anything like this, ambulances coming from Bethesda Chevy Chase Rescue Squad to this area, was almost 20 years ago on January 13th, 1982, the Air Florida crash into the 14th Street Bridge. Obviously, this is much, much more serious situation than that, but it's the only thing we can relate it to, where this entire area is shut down and all focusing on something obviously not that far away from the 14th Street Bridge. A sense of calm over here as people just watch, Pentagon employees just watch with their mouths open the firefighting operations and certainly any rescues that continue. We cannot see any.
Laura Bush, now the First Lady with Senator Kennedy.
Result of this event. And I wish to reinforce the point that Senator Kennedy made, which this hearing is being postponed and the business of this country will go forward. We are a resilient nation. Acts like this are inexcusable, they're criminal, but the fact is that we as a nation can overcome them.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You were listening to and looking live. Senator Edward Kennedy had invited First Lady Laura Bush to appear before the Health and Education Committee on Capitol Hill this morning to talk about the importance of education and early learning with young children, and of course because of the events of the day. They were just letting us know, one, to see that the First Lady was safe as well, and that this committee hearing was canceled for today. The mandatory evacuation of the U.S. Capitol and its office buildings will continue at least through the night, says Dan Nichols with Capitol Police. They have members of the House and Senate under protective coverage. He would not discuss details, but say they have contingency plans to provide exceptional protection. Just a precaution, says Dan Nichols of Capitol Police. There have been no explosions or similar incidents near or at the Capitol this morning.
Disney World down in Orlando is being evacuated at this time. I don't know whether that's a specific threat or a precaution.
Including closing off the airspace around Manhattan and doing everything that can possibly be done in the face of this barbaric act to make the city secure. And we will strive now very hard to save as many people as possible and to send a message that the city of New York and the United States of America is much stronger than any group of barbaric terrorists, that our democracy, that our rule of law, that our strength and our willingness to defend ourselves will ultimately prevail. And I'd ask the people of New York City to do everything that they can to cooperate, not to be frightened, to go about their lives as normal. Everything is safe right now in the city, and the people who are doing the relief effort need all the help they can get. And then, Governor, thank you very much for your assistance and your help and your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, for your leadership through this crisis. This is a vicious attack upon New York. It's an attack upon America. It's an attack upon the whole concept of freedom and our way of life. And we cannot let these attacks succeed. First step has to be to make sure we do everything in our power to protect the people and to save the lives of those whose lives are still at risk, and to help those who have been injured.
That are important for our economy and for the people of our country, but I'm sure they'll want to make sure that everything is safe before we go back in. Most ironic